All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. It is about that time. Let me start off by saying it is truly an honor to be here. I hope you've enjoyed the first 3/4 of our day, and we are diving into a very important part of the session. So I'm going to get going because I've got quite a bit to cover. Today, I come before you to deliver my third State of the System address. I'm proud to serve this great state in my capacity as board chair, serving alongside 16 other members of this great board. They're all committed to higher education, and that's what makes this really, really special. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on. But first, let's briefly reflect on the significant achievements that we had in the system in 2023. We retained our #1 ranking, the #1 state in the nation in higher education. That's important. You've heard the speaker talk about it. It means a lot, and I don't want to blow past that. But let me give you some other important facts. The state university system received record funding in 2023, over $1 billion increase over the last 2 years. Let me give you some color on those key initiatives. First, performance-based funding. $350 million in performance-based funding. That's up $85 million year over year. All 12 of our state institutions benefited. Another $100 million in preeminence funding. So if you think about preeminence funding, that we haven't really put preeminence funding in place in the last 4 or 5 years maybe. And so that was a significant gain to put $100 million into preeminence funding. $100 million went to recruitment and retention of faculty. I made a commitment to you. Around this time about a year ago, I said a priority was going to be around faculty excellence. We can't do that unless we continue to invest in our faculty. Over $400 million in operational enhancements. Now that was a record number. All of the institutions were able to participate in that funding last year. And over $600 million in fixed capital outlay for over 39 projects across the state university system. It was a big year financially. And you heard the speaker talk a little bit about, hey, it may get tough to continue to perform at those levels, but that is worth celebrating. Now, like any investment, let me move on to what were the returns. What were the returns on those investments? Let me start with, we remain the lowest in the country for undergraduate tuition. Student debt levels continue to improve. Let me give you a couple of really important facts around student debt levels. 77% of our undergraduates were loan-free. That was up from the previous year of 75%. I can't tell you how important that is to our students. If you think about the burden that debt has, our ability to do that as a state university system has been fantastic. Let me keep going. Our 4-year grad rates increased from 50% to 60% in the last 5 years. Significant gains, a big part of performance-based funding and the work that we've done. I want to highlight a few folks. Go Panthers, President Jessel. FIU, that same 5-year period, went from 39% to 60%. I think the fastest gains in the entire country. President Cartwright, I see you. I want to recognize Go Knights. Last year alone, you were up from 50% to almost 55% in your graduation rates. Thank you for your leadership. We also have done a pretty good job on access. We've got more work to do there, but I'm encouraged by the momentum. We graduated more Pell-eligible students than we have in the past. We also had over 5,000 more graduates that were Hispanic and African American than the prior year. You're continuing to see the diversity in the state university system and, quite frankly, closing the achievement gap. Importantly, last year, our universities pushed our system to a record high in research expenditures of $2.5 billion. That was a 10% increase year over year. That's a big deal when you think about us really driving innovation and change in the state. Florida, the state of Florida, now has 3 members, the Association of American Universities. If you think about the University of Florida was able to set that bar over 40 years ago, in 2023, the AAU recognized the University of South Florida as one of its newest members after 40 years of not having someone here in the great state. President Law, I know Chair Weatherford's not here. I want to extend a heartfelt congratulations. That was a tremendous milestone. Well done. And my Rattlers, right here in my hometown, I think you were recognized for outstanding achievement on the playing field. I think you deserve just as much credit for outstanding achievement in the classroom. You finished the year for the first time. For the first time in your history, you finished in the top 100 of public universities in this great nation. You finished number one. Yep. It's outstanding. I don't mind. Keep doing it. You finished number one, obviously, for all of our public HBCUs, number one ranking again for, what, 3 or 4 years in a row now? 4 years in a row. Five. Let the minutes reflect. 5. I think it's a big deal, and I just want to pause and say, go Rattlers. Well done. Now let me shift to some of the work we've done around leadership. I want to recognize a new colleague that has joined the BOG who's already adding tremendous value, and it's great to have our newest BOG appointee, Ashley Bell Barnett, Governor Ashley Bell Barnett, join us. Governor Bell Barnett, welcome. It's great to have you. The Board of Governors also appointed 8 trustees throughout the year and had 3 presidential confirmations. It's been a busy year for leadership. If you go back further, those numbers almost double. It really has been a busy last couple of years around governance and leadership, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Importantly, and you heard Governor Serio touch on this, each president in 2019 signed the board's statement of free expression. That's a statewide commitment. Now, as you heard, though, today we still have work to do. We talked about by the summer getting things done. I would really ask that our presidents lean in and as fast as they can make sure that we all deliver on continuing that very important commitment. None of these achievements would be possible without the support of our Governor DeSantis, our legislative leaders. It was great to have the speaker here today, and frankly, all of you in this room and our university leadership. I've gotten to know many of you, and it has been fun to watch. Journey's not over, but I would tell you a lot of what I covered in terms of achievements, you played a really, really key role in that. There's one other important group I want to recognize. A special thank you to Chancellor Rodriguez. First year in the seat. I think you've done an outstanding job, and I want to recognize you and obviously all of the BOG staff, many of which are in the room and some are not, that have just done a really, really good job throughout the year helping the BOG and the state university system be successful. So thank you for everything that you've done. The standard is set. The standard is high, and the assignment is clear. We must continue to perform at an elite level to prepare the next generation of our nation's leaders. Building on our theme from the Trustees Summit, you all recall, better together, and together, we're number one. Better together, and together, we're number one. I want to now forge ahead and give you a look forward around how we're thinking about the next year and the focus areas for me and the Board of Governors. First, student success. Second, faculty excellence. Third, innovation and research. Fourth, good governance with operational efficiency. Let me move forward. My first focus area is student success. There are over 400,000 students in the state university system, each with dreams to transform their future, and many, this is their first time their families have had someone attend a university. It's pretty special. I will tell you, as a former student in the SUS, I know just how important these years in college really are, and I know what it meant to me. Here are a few key considerations under student success. First, performance-based funding. We've talked about it. It's a significant investment. It's really tracking to holding us accountable to the investments that we make and getting the outcomes that we signed up for. I think we've had really, really impressive success there. We're going to stay the course. This year, we requested $350 million, again, from the legislature and our governor to support performance-based funding. Next, if we think about what we really want to do going forward, I also want to talk about workforce. It's hard to invest in the state university system if we principally, at the end of the day, aren't creating opportunities for our top students in the workforce. So I want to really challenge this group to align more to what the workforce needs are. I think we've done a pretty good job there, but let me be really specific. One effort that we've undertaken to align programs to workforce needs was the comprehensive review of the programs of strategic emphasis. We collaborated with universities, with the Florida Chamber, with the business communities, and more. And we received feedback on that list of programs. We took that feedback, we removed 59 programs based on that feedback and have an updated list. I think what's important is that list is a reflection of the most critical needs for our long-term workforce needs here in the state of Florida and the emerging market trends. To our trustees, our provosts, and our presidents, my ask is simple. I want you to go back and really think about, as you build out your budgets and your strategies, are you allocating the appropriate level of resources to these priorities? We've all agreed on them. The Board of Governors has voted and supported those. I need you to go back and really look at and make sure you've got the appropriate level of resources stacked against them. The next consideration under student success is a heightened focus on job readiness. You heard a little bit about that today. I think we can do more. I want to acknowledge that our universities are doing a lot around job readiness, but I have a few questions that I want to spark the dialogue. First, what are some of the best practices? Have we really thought about that in a strategic way and put that on the table for all of the SUS to benefit from? Next, are we sufficiently connected to the top companies around the world? Today you had Amazon in the room. I thought it was a really good discussion and presentation. Could you imagine if we had 40 or 50 companies in the room like that, partnering with us, really changing the trajectory and the opportunity for our students? In addition to internship and externships, what more could we do? So I want you to think about this also with regards to key performance indicators. Are there more key KPIs that we should have in this area, even if you think about your accountability plans? Take a look at your accountability plans, and if you really take a hard look, is it clear that we're pointing to job readiness around holding ourselves accountable? I know, we all know, these are opportunities to create exposure and a unique experience for our students. This is an area that I'm going to ask the Chancellor to do some work around and consider working with the universities and our BOG strategic plan, which you're going to hear a little bit more about. What could we do more in this area? So, Chancellor, I'm going to ask you to take a look at that. Lastly, within student success, maintaining affordability. I'd be remiss on not acknowledging the importance of this, particularly with a focus on our in-state students. All 12 institutions showed improvement in driving down the average cost to the student, which has now dropped to less than $3,000, about $2,940 when you factor in financial aid. That's outstanding and still ranks #1 in the country. Scholarships, financial aid, operational efficiency. There's lots of things that we can do to maintain that discipline. Affordability will continue to be a priority for the BOG, and I'd ask that each of the institutions consider that in their decision-making and their strategic plans. I want to pivot now to the next focus area, faculty excellence. I've got a lot to cover here. Currently across the system, we have over 19,000 faculty across the SUS. In 2023, I'll give you some stats. 76 of those faculty were members of National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. That was a new high for the state university system. This past December, we had 8 faculty from the SUS that were named fellows in the 2023 class of the National Academy of Inventors. That's a nationally recognized organization that honors and promotes academic invention. You heard earlier about world-class faculty in our scholarship program. If you don't remember, we had 150 faculty that we've been able to recruit, over 2,600 faculty we've been able to retain. All of them collectively have brought over $60 million in additional research dollars to their respective universities. It's outstanding news. And most importantly, they've got a pipeline of over $500 million in additional research funding that's in the pipeline. It is a significant tailwind for us when we think about the future of research in this great state. All of our universities, I'm sure, can point to faculty excellence. I'm going to call out a few. The 2024 Ersted Medal, the American Association of Physics Teachers, was awarded to a Florida State University physics professor for having a lasting impact on teaching physics. Go Noles. 3 faculty and scientists at Florida Polytechnic University were listed in the world's top 2% of scientists by Stanford University based on the number of articles they published and the citation of their papers that they received. That's fantastic news. Go Phoenix. As I reflect on these specific faculty, I can't help but pause and think about my own journey and the faculty that made a difference in my life. I think about Dean Bob Anderson. I'm sure my parents who are here today remember Dean Anderson. He was the former dean of the College of Business at the University of South Florida. He played a tremendous role in my life and had significant impact and ultimately became somebody that I looked up to that helped me prepare for the next stage of my career. I'm sure everyone in here today has someone that they can reflect on, a faculty member, a school teacher that played a pivotal role in helping you become the person you are today. Our faculty are truly special in this great state, and quite frankly, I want to pause and say thank you, and I ask that you join me in saluting all of our faculty across the state university system. So there are a few considerations under our focus area on faculty excellence. I'll move quickly. First, we are going to also request and prioritize an additional $100 million in our legislative budget request specifically focused on the recruitment and retention of faculty in the state university system. Second, our BOG will continue our listening tour to listen and learn. Let me pause on this for a second. Today is an example. There were 10 or 12 faculty members that I had lunch with along with a number of my colleagues. The conversation in the room was thought-provoking. We learned, we listened, we left that room more informed around the concerns and the ideas that our faculty might have. We have been doing that throughout the last couple of years, and we're going to continue to do it. I'll give you another specific example. In 2023, we listened to our faculty and our university administration early in the process of updating our programs of strategic emphasis. Quite frankly, I'll call out my friend Larry Robinson. He grabbed me in the hallway and said, hey, you guys got some work to do. This is not where it should be. A number of other faculty work with our staff. We listened. As a result, 36 programs were added back to the degrees of the programs of strategic emphasis because of the feedback that you gave us. We're not done. That is a very important area of consideration for us, and we're going to continue to do it. My ask to the presidents and the provosts, you have that same tenacity around spending time with your faculty. I've heard them ask about that. I know many of you are doing it exceptionally well. Please continue to spend time with your faculty as often as you can. Lastly, in the focus area of faculty excellence, post-tenure review. If you recall, we had a conversation, a number of them last year, about post-tenure review. As a reminder, post-tenure reviews ensure that tenured faculty members at each of the universities undergo a comprehensive review focused on evaluating if they are meeting the high standards of quality and productivity. In addition, it also is about honoring exceptional achievement. Governor Serio led this conversation and worked for us last year. I'm going to call on my colleague to continue prioritizing post-tenure reviews, inspecting the process, assessing are we getting the expected outcomes, and continuing to listen to our faculty and administration to listen and learn. Next, I want to move to a new focus area, innovation and research. Now, what's important here is we've made significant gains. You've heard me talk about the 10% growth, the $2.5 billion. I want to take a moment to highlight a particular university. I want to highlight and spend a minute on the University of Florida, a flagship university here in the SUS, and their efforts in the state. Research spending at the University of Florida soared 15% to $1.25 billion in 2023. That is outstanding news. UF ranks 27th among publics and privates in the country around research spending. Now today, we are fortunate that all of our universities are covering off and working across our thriving metropolitan markets. Earlier today, you heard about Jacksonville. Right down the road, the nation's 5th fastest growing metro, is also only one of 2 large cities in the United States to not have a major Research One university. Now, one particular effort that I'm excited about around research is the work that the UF Jacksonville Graduate Center is considering, which will address this key shortage and serve as an economic catalyst for the fast-growing Jacksonville MSA. Importantly, partnering with the Jacksonville existing higher education institutions, including the University of North Florida, civic and other industry partners, we believe the UF Jacksonville Graduate Center will offer graduate degrees, certificate programs, and focusing on other high-growth opportunities, including areas like data analytics and artificial intelligence. This is a really special opportunity. Now, what's interesting, if you think about Governor DeSantis' budget, his proposed budget, he also emphasizes research and innovation. For example, his budget includes $80 million for research and development initiatives in semiconductor industries, artificial intelligence chips, and assurance. That's a really big opportunity for us. Second, $25 million in enhanced cybersecurity programs to ensure competitiveness in the industry. I know University of West Florida, University of South Florida are all involved in those discussions, and I think will benefit greatly. Listen, I support the UF Jacksonville Graduate Center. I think it will be a fantastic opportunity for our state, and I'm looking forward to UF bringing this opportunity to the Board of Governors in March. More broadly, there are other examples and opportunities for us to do this across our state university system and working with other universities. I'm asking our BOG, driven by our Research and Excellence Committee, to explore other initiatives with our universities that can accelerate research spending, commercialization, and job creation in our great state. And final focus area, good governance and operational efficiency. We have a responsibility, and I think you heard it from the Speaker of the House today, to be good stewards of state resources. Through prudent governance, financial discipline, and regulation management, I think we can accomplish this goal. Our leadership at the BOG and the university level must be relentless about the responsibility to move faster around the number of non-essential and non-value-added regulations placed on our universities. Governor Serio covered something in his agenda that I thought was spot on. It was a great example of what we can do. Let me give you a couple of more. In 2023, we didn't stand still on this matter. Chapter 14, the regulation on facilities, was overhauled. We repealed 7 regulations and condensed 6 other regulations to streamline requirements for our universities. In addition, 3 regulations were repealed in the Academic and Student Affairs Committee for duplicate requirements. I'm a little restless on this one. I think we can do more. Today, I am going to ask our presidents to task their general counsels to quickly organize an effort to bring the Board of Governors their top recommendations on non-statutorily required regulations. I know we've got both, and report these priorities to the board by March. We did some work on this before, but I'm going to ask that you sharpen your pencil and really focus on the critical areas. You've got my attention on this. I think the Board of Governors can do more. I'm going to look for ways to empower the trustees and the presidents for you to run your business. And this is an opportunity for us to do this in the spirit of good governance. There'll be more guidance to follow. I'll send out a note with the chancellor to give you some direction on this, but this is a specific ask I'd like us all to take away. Next, accreditation. You heard a little bit about that today. It was a top consideration in 2023 and continues to be a strategy that all of our institutions in the BOG will be focused on. We underwent an extensive process in collaboration with Governor Diaz. I want to recognize my colleague in the Florida college system to identify accreditors that were suitable for our institution. The new list maintains high standards, addresses university concerns, and improved costs. UCF, as you heard today, has already made material progress, and I know Florida Poly is also on an important journey. Each of the institutions will continue to do this, and my expectation is that all of the universities stay on track with regards to our movement around accreditation. Lastly, in the area of good governance, we need to renew our focus on our core missions of our institutions. You heard 2 universities today talk about it in their strategic plans, but let me take a minute on this. Recently, the significant challenges in America's elite higher ed institutions are now in plain sight. The headwinds of the nation's elite institutions, laid next to the tailwinds and the ascension, quite frankly, of the Florida universities, highlights what good governance can look like. Now, our bold governance policies ensure that institutions are committed, first and foremost, to student success and to civil discourse and to a high ROI on the investments that we make in the system. Additionally, they ensure that our students and our faculty are encouraged to share productive and often debatable thoughts around how they learn and ultimately contribute to our economy and a healthier community. Universities, I'm counting on you. We've had a conversation about this, particularly as it relates to our statement of free expression, to promote a culture of civil discourse and academic freedom. We've got work to do to wrap that up this year, and I'll leave that in your able hands, but I'd like to see us get that done as quickly as possible. It's important that we hold true to the missions of the universities, and that's a body of work that the BOG will be undertaking this year. In conclusion, I've covered a lot, so thank you for staying with me. Now you can see the work that we've done, the impact that it's had, and why we continue to demonstrate and remain the #1 state in the country in higher education. We are better together, and together we are #1. With that, I'm going to ask Governor Jones, Chair of the Strategic Planning Committee, to conduct a refresh of our 5-year strategic plan. Our current plan expires in 2025, and I think the time is right for the Board of Governors to revisit that plan and think about the focus areas mentioned today and beyond and other key considerations that can help us be well positioned for the future. We will obviously bring that plan back when the time's right to the full board and obviously the Florida community, but this is a good time for us to look at our 5-year plan. Now, it's not lost on me that many of these institutions in the room, all of you to some degree, have been delivering high-quality education for some time, some for over 100 years. I want to quickly share in my closing why this is so personally important to me. And it's something for all of us to think about. Now, sitting next to me right here is my family. Now, they're not here to just celebrate my conversation. They're here because I want to illustrate a point to you on the obligation that we all have in this room. In 1929, almost 100 years ago, Coach Vernell Ross was born. Now, you all might not know Coach Vernell Ross, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He today is one of the most recognized and decorated leaders in our great state of Florida. He is also someone that served this great state as a school teacher and a coach at an incredibly high level. He also is someone that graduated from, at the time, FAMC, today FAMU University. 1948 and 1950s through the 1960s, he served this great state as a coach and as a leader. And during that time in the 60s, he met a young man from Midway, Florida. That was my father. Coach Ross, who is now my godfather, met my father as a coach. And what he instilled in him are the same things that you saw in Coach Vernell Ross for almost 100 years. Coach Ross today recently celebrated his 94th birthday. So for 100 years, he's been serving this great state. And if I fast forward and I think about my father and my beautiful mother that are sitting here, my dad has served this great state his whole life. My mother worked for the Department of Corrections as an administrator for over 30 years. My sister attended FAMU University. I attended the University of South Florida. I'm here to tell you, this is personal, I'm here to tell you that if we do this really, really well, and I need your help, we can set others up for the next 100 years. This isn't about today. We'll wrap this meeting up, we'll adjourn, we'll all go home, we'll enjoy a nice dinner, and we'll go home to our families, which we all deserve. But I want you to leave here today with a clear understanding that if we get this right, if we work together, if we lean in, we can build upon the great work of someone like Coach Vernell Ross that started in 1929 and culminates today in 2024 with his godson that is now chair of the board for the state university system. Our work's not done. I'm here for the next 100 years, and I need your help. Thank you for all of your time today. Thank you for your service, and I couldn't be more proud that we're better together, and together we're number one.